We are back with another product review today. Before we get started, if you will do me a big favor, hit the subscribe button here in the top corner. Subscribe to our channel. We're trying to grow our YouTube. We want to be able to bring you more videos, more product reviews, more hunts. If you like watching videos on our channel, share them with your friends, send them our way. Help us out by hitting the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. All right, so now that all that is out of the way, let's talk about what, in my opinion, is the best budget coyote call on the market. The Foxpro Prowler. All right, so I picked this up off of Amazon for $179.99. I'll put a link in the description below. I think it was on sale when I bought it, so the price may vary. But to me, this is the best budget coyote call. We'll get into what all it does, the remote that it comes with. We'll give you some sound samples at different yardages and distances. But let's get it broke open out of the box and let's take a look at what it all comes with. And we'll kind of give you a roundabout idea of what all features it has and why I think this is the best budget option for a coyote call. All right, so we have got the call out of the box. This is the call unit. Very small, probably about 7-8 inches long, about 5 inches tall, has a carrying handle. It also has threads in the bottom of it where you can put it on a tripod of some sort. I have a little plastic tripod that's probably 8-9 inches tall, and that's how I'm running it in the field right now. I screw it in and it just gets it up off the ground. That way, if you're in a field or something that has some kind of tall grass, you get the call up out of that, and I just think the sound carries a little bit farther if it's up off the ground. Really compact design. Has two buttons here on this side, the speaker button and the on-off button, and then it has an external speaker port. So if you wanted a bigger speaker, you can run an audio cable from the external speaker port to that, and then also has an aux cable port. It comes with that cable. And really, the only thing I've used it for thus far is when I've added sounds to the call, and we'll kind of go over that later, syncing the remote with the call so the new sounds show up on the remote. So while we're talking about the remote it comes with is the TX433XL. Really solid remote, really big screen, runs off of one 9-volt battery. Been very happy with the battery life so far. We're going to power this thing on. Pops up and tells you the version you're running. Says extend antenna completely for best range. It does have the extendable antenna on top. And then there's your screen. You can adjust the backlight brightness if you want it to be dimmer or brighter, depending on if you're a daytime hunter or nighttime hunter, whatever the case may be. So we'll go over some of the remote features later. So as far as what comes on this call, you get 175 preloaded sounds from Foxpro. There's also a very large library of free sounds, as well as a bunch of sounds that you can buy, including the MFK library. If you're into coyote hunting at all, you'll know what the MFK sounds are. They make hand calls, mouth calls, different things, but they have a set of electronic calls, and those MFK sounds can be added to this unit. And we'll discuss a little bit later of how to do that. It's pretty simple. There's a pretty good guide on Foxpro's website teaching you how to do that. And that will probably come in a separate video. We're going to kind of dive deeper into that of how to get those sounds on your Foxpro Prowler. So this call, everybody wants to know price. As far as a budget unit, this call comes in at $179.99 right now. So $180. That's like with a 5% off sale on Amazon, so you can find it anywhere in that range. I think it's a little more expensive if you buy it directly from Foxpro's website. So check out Amazon, check out some different online stores, and you can find it in that $170 to $180 range. And to me, for what I do and the hunting that I do, this thing has been, it's been plenty. It's been plenty loud enough. It's got all the same sounds that an X24 or a Shockwave or something would have. It's got anything you can imagine, and being able to add those sounds on here is a big deal to me. I haven't messed with it yet, but you can just add any MP3 sounds. So technically you could download songs and put on here. If you wanted to use some other type of coyote call sounds or distress sounds, you could download those on your computer if they're in MP3 format, and you could upload them to this call and remote. So again, for $179.99, it's a super good budget call. We'll talk a little bit more when we get to the remote portion, some of the different things that you can do. And to me, on a budget call, it has all the features of the big expensive calls. For me, I wasn't going to drop $400 or $500 for an X24 Shockwave. And this, to me, gets the job done and does everything that I need it to. So we'll talk a little bit about the call itself. It runs off of 4 AA batteries. You take this side panel off right here. It has a little tray that you fill, and then it plugs in. So those 4 batteries, I like that it only takes 4. They seem to last a while. I haven't had to change mine yet. And it gives you a battery monitor on the handheld device for the actual remote, but there isn't a battery meter for the call. So that's one, I would say, con or negative of this thing, is you don't necessarily know what your battery level is in your call. As far as everything else with the call, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Again, really small, compact unit that packs a punch. We're going to do some, we're going to take it outside and do some sounds for you. We're going to play one howl and one distress sound at different yardages and different volumes, and I'll put on the screen what yardages and what volumes I'm playing those at, just so you can hear how it sounds. Again, I've been super pleased with it thus far, and I'm looking forward to using it more and getting more time with it. And so far, we've had some good success with it. So now we're going to move on to the remote. All right, so this is the TX433XL remote. This is what comes with your Foxpro Prowler. On the front of it here, we have a power button, a menu button, scroll up and down, volume up and down, play select is in the middle, a mute button here at the bottom, and a 1 and 2 that are programmable to what you want to program it to here on the sides. So I'm going to turn it on with the power button. Screen comes on. It's got a nice big screen. All right, so here's my favorite part about it. Standard, when you get it in the box, it's going to have favorites. It's going to have coyote, fox, rabbit, rodent coaxer, domestic, bobcat, mountain lion, raccoon, wolf, bird, bear, crows, situational, deer, turkey, elk, moose. It's going to have all kinds of calls loaded on it in different categories. All right, so I'm in North Carolina. I have no need for moose sounds or elk sounds. I don't use an electronic call turkey hunting, so I don't have any use for them. I don't use an electronic call for deer hunting. Don't have any use for them other than the fawn distress, and we'll talk about those sounds later. So what I did was I hooked my TX433XL remote, or excuse me, I hooked my call up to the computer, and I can edit those categories. So I can add new categories, I can remove categories, I can remove sounds. I can also put, when I create a category, I can put what sounds I want in it. So for me, what I do, I leave my favorites tab and it stays on there. That way I can put my most used sounds in that folder. And then I've got your standard coyote section. And then I added a section called howls. So in howls, I've got all my howls. So a coyote locator howl, coy group howl, male coyote lone howl, female coyote howl, deep howl, coyote long howl, female coy bark, coyote pair, all kind of stuff. All of my howls are in that folder. And then my next sound down is pup sounds. So right now it's March, so I'm starting to integrate pup sounds in almost every stand. So I have my own category for pup sounds. So rather than going to the coyote folder and having to search through all of the coyote sounds, I create the howl folder and then I create a pup sounds folder. That way it's a whole lot quicker to navigate to when I'm on a stand and I know, okay, I want to play Canine Distress 2, or excuse me, Canine Pups 2. I can just go straight to pups, move down a few, and it's there. So in my pup one, I've probably got 25 or 30 sounds in it. And then you go on down, I've got a rabbit folder. So out here I use a lot of rabbit sounds for my distress sounds, cagey cottontail, baby cottontail, adult cottontail. See what else? Dying jackrabbit, waning jackrabbit, eastern cottontail. Those are just the ones I use commonly. Cagey cottontail is my go-to. It's one of my favorite distress sounds. And then after that, we have a rodent coaxer. So some vole squeaks, mouse distress. See what else. Squirrel distress. Several different things I have on here under the rodent and coaxer. Under domestic, I have Canine Pups 1 and 2. I keep that in the pup sounds as well as the domestic sounds. And then I've got like a kitten distress. I've got a baby goat cries, a buck fawn and a doe fawn distress, a lamb distress, another lamb distress, kitten distress, several different sounds there. So a lot of times here in the Southeast, we'll hunt farms that have, whether it be sheep or cows or different things. So I really tune into those lamb distress, baby goat distress, different things of that nature, just so these coyotes are hearing something different. And then you go on through, there's many other sounds on here. So when we talk about the remote, we also have in the bottom right-hand corner a stand timer. So when I turn it on, it's going to start that timer each time. So when I start a stand and I turn the remote on, I know that, all right, this is how long I've been on stand. I can pay attention to it and say, all right, I've been running this sound for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I know when to mute and that sort of thing. So when we talk about volume on the Prowler call from Foxpro that we're reviewing today, you get a 0 through 20. So like on the X24 and some of the more expensive units, you're going from 0 to 40. And really the best way I've heard it described is whatever sound you're on the X24 would be, divide that in half, and that would be the same sound volume on the Prowler. So a lot of times I'm starting my sounds at around 8 to 10, so just a little under half or at half. With my house, sometimes I'll start at 12, just depends on the stand and what kind of terrain's around me. I rarely work all the way up to 20, just if it's kind of windy or if I'm in a really big location with or sound carries really far, I'll sometimes run it on 20 there. But most of the time I stay in that 8 to 16 range is kind of my sweet spot. And I'll go down to sometimes to like 6 on some vole squeaks and mouse sounds. But it's super easy to turn up and down, and you can set it however you want. You can set it to go up 1 number at a time, 2 numbers at a time. Mine goes up, when you mash it once, it goes up 1 number. You can also set it where when you select a sound, it doesn't automatically start playing it. I set it to when I select the sound, I have to mash mute to unmute the sound. So rather than if I'm scrolling through and I hit select on a call, I don't want it just to start playing. I have it where I have to mash mute for the sound to start, which is good if I know what sound I'm going to next, but I want to sit quiet for a little while. I'll go ahead and pick that sound, put the remote in my pocket, and then when I'm ready, I can just mash mute and unmute it. So when we talk about the favorites section in the remote, you can set favorites in here and you can set what volume you want them to start on. So if you know you're going to run Free Coyote Lone Howls on every set to start your set off and you want to start it at volume 10 on your first call, you could put it in your favorites as lone howls and for volume 10. So when I select that, mash unmute, and it's going to start playing it on volume 10. Same way with like cagey cottontail, I told you is one of my favorite distress sounds. I have it set in here to start playing on volume 10 in my favorites. You can set it up numerous different ways. If you want cagey cottontail in your favorites twice, let's say once on volume 8 and once on volume 12, you could do that. You can set them there in your favorites. So as far as favorites go, you get 25 favorite slots. I only run about 14, but you can put up to 25 favorite calls in there. And again, those can be duplicates. I've got several distress sounds, several pup sounds, several howls, some raccoon distress, raccoon fights, different things in the remote set in the favorite section that I use often. So that's kind of how that works. I mentioned earlier that you can change the backlight brighter or dimmer. You hold the menu button down and go to display and power, and I leave mine set on 50%. It's got contrast you can change up and down. Auto off, I set mine to 1 hour. Just if you forget to turn it off, the remote will turn off on its own. The stand timer reset, you can reset that manually. It's got an alarm if you want it to alarm you. Okay, you've been here 20 minutes. I leave that feature off. And then user 1 and user 2. So these two buttons at the bottom, 1 on the left-hand side and 2 on the right-hand side, you can set those buttons to do whatever you would like. I personally have mine set to favorite 1, which is cagey cottontail. So if I just mash the number 1 button, it's going to start playing cagey cottontail at volume 10. You can set it from favorite 1, 2, and 3. You can set it to the aux plug. You can set it to recall, timer reset, backlight, so you could mash it and adjust the backlight from there. And then it cycles back through to favorite 1. And again, you have 2 buttons that you can set, however you want. I have number 2 set for favorite 2. That way I've got a quick access to those 2 favorite sounds that I use the most. On remote settings, you've got a download list, categories, and about info and that sort of thing. And we'll get into that in a separate video as far as how to add sounds to the Prowler and then get those sounds to show up on your remote. All right, we've got the Foxpro Prowler in our remote out here to do the sound test at different yardages. We're going to start at 25 yards with some different volumes. Go to 50, 75, 100, 150. We're going to end up at 200 yards. Try to stay dead in line with the call the entire time, and I'll put on the screen what volume and what sound we're playing. We're going to do 1 howl and then 1 distress sound. It's kind of windy today, around 7-8 mile an hour, so hopefully that doesn't interfere too much, but just keep that in mind. For a small call, this thing does really well as far as volume. The volume settings go from 1 to 20, as I mentioned before, and we'll play them on some different volumes at different yardages. Hopefully this helps you understand just how loud this little call is.